All right, so I left the police service, and then I was getting ready to go to the real world. That's actually what we call it in the service, right? We call the normal livings of everyone else, that's the real world. So I had these tools, which I knew were awesome for training recruits, and even training myself. I noticed a huge increase in my ability to perform and be successful the moment that I started following these tools. So I was like, well, how do I translate that into my new industry? Because I'm here to thrive. So the first thing I wanted to do is learn what my new industry was like and work at changing the problems that we saw. And then, of course, creating a culture. The thing with culture is we are visual learners. So if you have a certain culture on a site or in a workspace, when somebody new comes in, they watch and they learn. We're naturally social creatures. We want to hang out with each other. That's why we can come in the masses of millions and function with each other. But the way we do it is we assimilate to the culture of the group. So if you have a nice, healthy work culture, when you put somebody new into the mix, they assimilate to that work culture. If you have an unhealthy culture, they will assimilate to that unhealthy culture. And it's good, like Mel was saying, we use these on creating training. So that was the first thing that I actually looked at when I got into the oil and gas industry, is I was good at training. So I got a health and safety role, and immediately I was looking at, well, maybe I can start to sell this idea on the training side because I know I'm really good at that. So then I just simply looked at marketing. Marketing has mastered our subconscious mind. It is the thing that makes us consumers. They know how to do it really, really well. So I actually looked at some of the biggest ones. Google, Apple, Facebook. How do they do it? There's a lot of other search engines out there besides Google. But Google got it to the point that it's our language. We don't be like, hey, you should search that on the internet. We're like, you should Google that. It's actually part of our language. They did a great job. So the first thing I realized is that things have changed. I was trained the old way, I learned a new way, and the new way was really good. Technology is one of the fastest changing things that we have here. So if you're not adapting to the people you're trying to train, you're doing them a disservice. So when I started looking at training, I was like, well, how is the masses trained right now? And they're still trained through television. We actually get really programmed on how much time we like to stay seated, when commercials should come on, the duration of the commercials, what the commercials will be doing at a certain time, because maybe they want you to think about McDonald's, or maybe at this time it's the best time to get a person thinking about a car. So training has been done through television. Adapting to television is understanding, that our world is now on demand. Whereas before, you'd have to look at the TV guide and be like, okay, I need to be in front of the TV at 7:30 because my favorite show is on. Not anymore. When you want it, you get it. You can get it just about anywhere. You can be out in the middle of the lake fishing. If you want to watch a movie, guess what? You probably can watch a movie. We have become so on demand that the last study that I read in a psychology magazine says that an average goldfish has a memory loop of 30 seconds. So it can pay attention to something for 30 seconds and then it will want to do something else. The average youth between the age of 7 and 17 has a memory loop of 22 seconds because of on demand. I'm bored, I need to do. I'm bored, I need to do. I'm bored, I need to do. They've cultivated that subconsciously. Some people may look at that and be like, oh, that's wrong. I look at that as like, hey, I need to learn what they're doing because it's working. And maybe I can use it just in a better field that they are. Instead of marketing, maybe I can use it for training and culture. And one of the things that I picked up on, because we're so on demand, is a pink cow theory. And the best way to describe this pink cow theory is if you drive by a field and you see cows, what's going to happen? Nothing. You'll keep on driving, you pay no attention to this. You've seen it before, there's nothing cool about it. But all of a sudden you see a pink cow with strawberries on it, what are you going to do? You're going to stop. You're going to take pictures. You're going to go viral with it, and you're going to show all your friends this pink cow. It's new. The fire extinguisher course was successful because it was a pink cow. Fun, exciting, interactive. We had people lining up for it because of that on-demand programming. That's why we had a pink cow on top of aggressive. It's to remind us that our goal is to look at what was old and be like, what can we do to make this better? What is our pink cow? Google has really mastered their pink cow because their daily search engine is different every day. So if you type Google in, yesterday it would look like this, maybe today it would look like this, tomorrow it will look like this. They made this awesome because you can download an app, design your own Google logo, send it to them, and if it gets approved, it's used for the day. So they don't even have a team of people creating this. People are doing this for free. And they get excited because imagine if I created this page and it was up, what do you think I would do? Pink cow, I'm going to tell all my friends, you have to search the Google site. That is my logo. Everyone would start doing it. And by the way, Google makes 10 cents every time you Google something. Businesses pay Google for their advertising. Yeah, every time you do Google Maps, anything like that, it's 10 cents. Not out of your pocket, but probably out of, like on Google Maps, all the businesses in the area, that gets divvied up. But that's where the money is in data. So traditional marketing, when you're looking at how to deliver a message, if you go traditionally, I need to create an average product and market to that 80%. Because this is traditional, where they're just like, hey, we need to sell this car. How can we make this car appeal to the masses? The problem with this 80% is they're not exceptional people. They're just average. They don't care whether it's a Ford, a Chevy, or whatever. All they want is a car. They're not going to help you sell the car. So, the word otaku is used lots in Apple. And otaku means somebody with an obsessive interest. That's who they market to. They market to 20% of the population. They want people obsessed with their products. I didn't get my first iPhone because I did the research. I wasn't an exceptional consumer. I was at 80%. I didn't care. I had a Motorola flip phone. Could dial, it worked. But there was an otaku on our team, and he loved the iPhone. And every time he saw my flip phone, what do you think he did? He mocked me. He said I was a dinosaur, and then I needed to get up, and then he'd show me his phone and be like, see how easy it is? It's one button, and look at all the stuff that you can do with it. When my contract came up, I walked up into TELUS. They're like, what would you like to get? And I'm like, no, give me that iPhone. Why? Because the otaku sold it to me. He gets no kickback from Apple for selling that phone, but he has an obsessive interest in it. We see otakus all the time. You want to see what people have an obsessive interest in? Just check out what they're always searching. So that's what we need to do, is we need to go to the better than average or extraordinary. So when you create something, if you only have, let's say you did a public speaking presentation, and there's 100 people there, and 80 of them aren't paying that much attention, but 20 of them are nodding their head, and they're in it. That's all you need to do. Because even when you leave, those 20 are going to share that knowledge that you're giving them. They're the ones that are going to be out in the field and be like, hey, we learned last time that we have to put this fall protection on, and we learned how to do it the right way, so let's do it the right way this time. They are going to sell whatever message you want for free, and they will do it over and over and over again. And I like to use this as the best example. When Steve Jobs wanted to create the iPad, he went to this committee and said, hey, I have this idea of a tablet. And guess what they said? Nope. They're like, there's phones, The mobile electronic devices, there's laptops, there's PCs. Why would somebody want something in the middle? It doesn't make sense. It's just a big phone. So they said no, and he pushed. So what they agreed to do was move forward with the project, but only give him $86,000 for his advertising budget. He accepted it. Guess what he uses $86,000 for? To increase the security on the information. People knew Apple was creating a tablet, but even until the first day it came out, they didn't even know the right name for it. They used it for false advertising. They would bleed out information to their otakus being like, well, this is what it maybe will look like. Maybe we'll call it this, but the otakus were obsessed. They couldn't wait for it. They lined up for blocks, waiting for a product that they still didn't know what it was. The only time they told people what an iPad was is when they sold it. So it was released April 3rd, 2010. 300,000 iPads were sold the first day. April 5th, 1 million. 3 times the number. What do you think happened? Those otakus went home and said, check this out. You're not cool until you get one. 2 days later, more than triple the amount of iPads sold. And up to date, they've sold 308 million iPads. These people that were selling their products for them did not work for them. They were not getting a paycheck. They had no true vested interest financially, but they were otakus. They were obsessed with it. And they will sell it for you. So when you look at selling, think about it, what idea do I want to bring forward? What do I want to change? How am I going to go through the process of changing it? You need to create otakus. Aggressive became an otaku. The moment that Mel had me in to do a presentation for her workers bid into it, Mel bid into it, and then we started creating new things, new pink cows, new training, and then the snowball happened. The client she was delivering it to liked it. It was new. We were showing that their workers were actually getting trained in less amount of time doing a better job. So to do this, I created the rule of 3, because the brain loves 3s. 30-minute meetings, 30-second notes, 3-second hooks. Guess what this modeled after? 30-minute TV show, 30-second commercial. And your 3-second hook is your McDonald's jingle. Da-da-da. Everybody knows. More than likely, McDonald's has got you so well programmed, an image of your favorite food popped in your mind. French fries, Big Mac, chicken nuggets, off of 3 seconds. YouTube understands how important this 3-second hook is. Ever wondered why they give you that 5-second option to skip the advertising? Doesn't make sense. Why would a company give you the option to skip the advertising that people are paying them to do? They realize that we're so good at being distracted that people would log on to YouTube. And by the way, when you log on to YouTube, they totally know keystrokes and everything, right? So if you log on to YouTube and a commercial comes up and you pull up another website to go on, YouTube knows that you left their site and when you come back. The amount of information you store is amazing. So they found out that we were really good at seeing a commercial, doing something else, actively ignoring the commercial, and then getting back to the YouTube channel we wanted to watch. But they knew that they only need us for 3 seconds to trigger your subconscious thought. Only need 3 seconds of that commercial for you to remember the whole commercial. So they put a fail-safe, let's do 5 seconds. So you may think that you're skipping it, but you're paying attention to the screen for 5 seconds, which is enough time for them to market to you. Like I said, I just follow TV, 30-minute TV shows, 30-second commercials. So if you're going to create something, and let's talk about Minor Hockey League. So now you're going to create a 30-minute training session for them. More than likely, it'll be very low on class time, 10 minutes maybe. And then it'll be practical. So you create what you want to do. You take a small segment and say, this is what I want to do, here's my 30 minutes. Before and after that 30 minutes of training, you make commercials. The before commercials are getting them excited for the training. The after commercials are reminding them of what they just saw. Inside there, you need to create a 3-second hook. And a good example is I actually just worked with a minor hockey league where a guy came up and was like, look, we have a problem with these kids cross-checking from behind. We even put a stop sign on the back of the jerseys to remind them to stop doing it, but they're always doing it. And he was good. He was like, I've been teaching you wrong. He's like, don't cross-check, don't do this, don't. He's like, so let's work on something. So we created this. When you see the stop sign on your opponent, it will tell you to power pass and take the puck. We didn't even talk about cross-checking. We just used that stop sign as a visual clue with the brain lights and memory tag and installed it in power pass and take the puck. So even when they're playing a game and they see a kid coming up behind another kid, the coach will yell that, power pass, and then you see them. So that's what their 30-minute training was power pass, take the puck. This is how you're going to take the puck from them. And this is how you're going to pass it off to the next person. So they had a bunch of commercials. They had the actual television show, and then afterwards they had commercials and 3-second hooks all the time. Power pass, take the puck. Enormously effective, and it made them a better team because instead of fixating on cross-checking, they're fixating on taking the puck. The other thing you have to realize if you're creating something, it's about me. It's not about you. If you're creating something for me, it needs to have what we call me-mail. I get a whole bunch of emails, and I guarantee you I delete the ones that don't have my name on them. Not interested, not interested, not interested. To the point that they realize this, so they have computers that will generate your name into the title. Because we know odds are we'll open it up. Because it's a me-mail, it's important to me. If I'm in the safety industry and I'm dealing with scaffolders and I want to train them on hot work, so welding work, they're not going to care. There's no me-mail there at all. So it has to be about the people that you're delivering it to. You may be passionate about something, use that passion and be like, what do these people need to hear? What do they want to hear? What do they need to learn? You also have to make it simple enough that anyone can present it. Because if you're not looking at delivering this information across a broad spectrum, you can't do it all by yourself. So whatever you create has to be simple enough that anyone can take it and move forward with it. And be careful of your personal language. And I'm not talking about F-bombs. In the safety industry, the word intervention is a good word. It means you're doing something unsafe. I come up, I intervene, and make it safe, and we move on, and it's all rainbows and unicorns, and we go dancing off into the sunset, right? We had incidents happen, no one was intervening. And we would ask them, why aren't you intervening? Where's the intervention? Why? Because it's a good word in safety. We wanted that to happen. But then when I got into the unit, I started hearing people say, wow, they're just knowing the intervention, it's not working. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, opportunity. Somebody's identified the fact that something's not working. What's not working? So I belong to an online forum of instructors, and I sent out a question. What does intervention mean to you? Do you think anything positive came back? The majority of them said a crappy reality show, to stop, to hold up, to defeat. There was nothing positive about intervention. So we took that out. And we simply said, all you have to do is stop and talk. 3-second hook, created a 30-minute meeting, commercials leading to it, stop and talk. And we told people how to do it. If you think something is unsafe, it may be. Walk up to the person, stick your hand up. I'm John. I'm really curious, I've never seen that done before that way. Can you explain that to me? We're all professionals, we like to talk about our job. If it's unsafe, the person will register. Ooh, oh yeah, no, we need to fix this. But by just coming up and having the interaction, you've intervened, but you stopped and talked. That was our 3-second hook. It worked phenomenally well. It got contractors talking to each other out in the field, feeling safe because everybody was educated. So when I move into any new position, the first thing I do is I look for deficiency. And I know as a safety professional, everyone's like, safety is first. For me, I say safety, production, and quality are all the same. If production is going slow or people are falling behind schedule, what do you think happens to safety? It panics. We're going to take shortcuts. If quality is low, what does that do to production? There's rework. So they're falling behind, it affects safety. The moment that you start looking at deficiency, it's easy to see what's going on, and I saw that there's a huge deficiency happening here. Safety meetings. Went to a 1-hour safety meeting in coveralls and work boots and a hard hat. And I sat in a room and it was hot. Guess what happened? Yeah, I probably would want to shave my head with a cheese grater than go through that experience again, because you're fighting to stay awake. You're not even learning. Your subconscious dialogue is like, oh, please don't fall asleep, please don't fall asleep. Well, the other guys beside you are like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. It was horrible. So let's look at it. 4,000 workers at the site. Once every 3 months, they would do a 1-hour safety meeting. That's 400,000 man-hours a year. One meeting a month, 12 hours a year. This is how much we costed in man-hours. 4.8 million yearly in man-hours to do this training that people were falling asleep at. Yeah, I get it. I reduced the meetings from 60 minutes to 30 minutes. I cut it in half. I made it pink cows. Every meeting was a pink cow. There was tools to be learned. There were skills to be delivered. To the point that the coordinator came up to me and was like, this is the first time in my career I have people coming up asking me when the next safety meeting is. It's creepy, right? Nobody asked that. But we made a pink cow, and we made it interesting. And it was really, really effective out in the field. First year, man-hours, $2.4 million in man-hour savings. Just in man-hours. It also increased time on tools. Instead of guys being away for an hour or 8 hours for some courses, they're only away for 30 minutes. And what's interesting is we created safety otakus. We actually saw this sign hanging above a beam that was normally would just be wrapped in red caution tape to prevent you from, it's called a headbanger, so self-explanatory. But normally it's wrapped in red caution tape, but that's not a pink cow anymore. So we do get people smoking their hard hat on top and compresses the neck, and we can get an injury. Was out in the field with my boss after I delivered a few safety courses, and as we're walking through the field, we see this hanging off the headband. So he looked at me right away and he's like, what's this? And I'm like, that is cool. I like that. And he's like, I don't, because that's not certified by the company. I'm like, wait a minute, this tag over here is certified by the company. It's the procedure of wrapping it is done. They just added something to it. And then I looked at him and said, what did it do? It made you look. And he took a breath and was like, okay, I get it. And then we moved forward. Toolbox advisories. When a safety guy comes up and talks at a toolbox, this is what it normally looks like. And this would be delivered to everyone, scaffolders and everybody, right? Manual adjustment of automatic slack adjusters may contribute to unexpected brake failure on automotive fire departments. They would read it. Takes about 15 minutes, lost all the people, was not with the subconscious mind. It was horrible. So we created a visual marketing page. This is one thing that I learned, is that you need to install images. So the reason why the visual marketing page was so effective, it was a picture that would be handed out to the team as the safety advisor was talking. So it kept them engaged. The dude that's staring at his cup of coffee had something to look at and pass it on. What was really cool in the future, in the trailers, they weren't posting the entire safety advisory, they were posting pictures, and they could tell you right off the bat. You'd be like, hey, what's the picture of the unicorn? Oh, well, it was in reference to this. So it worked phenomenally well. And we know the subconscious mind loves those pictures. So we had a problem on site with guys crossing through flagging and tag barriers. The old way, we would have just been like, guys, whatever you do, don't do it, you can get fired, which you will. Years of ramifications of stop doing it. But we created a visual marketing page. So everyone knows this scene. You shall not pass. Gandalf slams his staff down, destroys the bridge. Him and the devil or demon go into the abyss. Highly emotionally charged part about the movie. Perfect. I want to tap into emotion because that is really effective for subconscious learning. 15-minute safety meeting went to this. You shall not pass. So sorry, whether it is yellow caution tape or red danger tape, you shall not pass. If you need to cross the yellow caution tape, read the tag, talk to workers controlling the area, and know the hazards before you cross by reading and signing the FLHA. Add flag and tag zones to the FLHA so that others coming into your work area can know what the hazard and dangers are. Remember, you shall not pass. That's our 3-second hook, right? 15 minutes. I told the safety advisors that they were allowed 30 seconds. 30 seconds was the only amount of time they were allowed to talk. And we had a better product. We had the pink cow. It was made that any of the advisors could deliver it and was extremely successful. Because if you look at it, every morning, we went from 15 minutes of one guy droning on, not being effective, to 30 seconds, short, sweet, here it is delivered, and away you go. So, before we changed this process, I needed to show my bosses what I was doing. So we did a field survey before this new way came out, where we were like, hey, 2 days ago, what was your safety advisory about? It was around 50% memory recall. We delivered a new way, went out to field 2 days later, 82% of the people instantly were like, oh yeah, no, it was Gandalf, it was about flagging and tagging. 30 seconds. And we got even more talkers off of that because they created this. And they hung this off of the flagging and tagging barrier and it made people stop, look at it, and read what was happening. Any questions? Nobody wants to ask why there's a horse on the teeter-totter? If you're lost for a visual marketing page, you can use anything. That's why you have those commercials that you're watching where you're like, what does this have to do about a car? It's a bunch of puppies running through the field. It's because it doesn't matter. They just want you to associate something with an emotion. Puppies are cute, soft and fuzzy, maybe that's what they're selling. So the visual marketing page, if you're lost, you can use anything you want. All right, so my phone says 8:18. So if we can be back here by 8:25, please.